Welcome back to Decked Out Jon Boats. Today we're going to be discussing the history of the Total Electric Championship and any TEC news. Y'all hang with us. You're not going to miss this one. How did the TEC come about?
We started, with our club. We had, and I'm trying to think the year. There was 2 years that we got an invitation to what was called the J-Bait, Jon Boat Angler Invitational Tournament, I think is what it was called. And we fished those 2 years and had fun doing it. I mean, it was a fun tournament, great event. Our anglers throughout the state really, really loved it. And the second year we fished, everything just kind of fell apart. I don't know what happened. We just never did have it again. J-Bait kind of dissolved and never got going. So
where were they fishing that event? Like what lake?
So forgive me, I don't remember the years on it. Maybe some folks can leave you some comments, let you know, different lakes, different times, stuff like that. But I want to say it was 2010 and 2011 was the years that we fished. 2010, we as all presidents met together, made the decision. We had it as a 2-day event, first day event. We kind of stuck to a region. You had to qualify within your region on day one to make it to day two. So we selected for the North Georgia region, Cedar Creek Reservoir. It was kind of new then. Not too many people fishing it. Pressure wasn't all that there. So we went over there. I think we took the top 6 from our club, smallwater angler teams. And then at the time, the club that was still going in the North Georgia area, Bass Anglers in North Georgia, they took their top 6. We competed. And that was the year that I learned about brownies. I don't eat brownies when it comes to tournaments anymore. I do not pack them. They do not go on my boat because the good Lord knew all about it. I got sick as a dog. After day 1. I ate brownies, and I did not make day 2, and I'm glad I didn't because by like 3 a.m., I was waking up sick as a dog, and there's no way I could have made day 2. It would have been miserable. So that being said, it was our first year at Cedar Creek, and then day 2 went to I think it was Horton, if I remember right, Lake Horton. And I don't think you can really host tournaments down there anymore.
Yeah, I think there's a large fee to have so many boats.
Yep. So that was our day 2, and then that was it for that year. Then the next year that we got involved with the J-Bait, we all got together. We all agreed to it. We wound up going to Lake Juliette, one-day tournament, and I'm going to tell you, I've heard so many people talk about it. I've heard you talk about it. That place can be a beast to you. But man, I love that lake. I've only seen it once in my life, but loved it.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. I love that lake. I mean, it's got the blueback herring, it's got the grass, anything you want to fish, it's got it there. So what you were talking about, y'all did a 2-day on different tournaments, and a 2-day on different lakes. Now, were there other clubs competing on different lakes, and then the top clubs converged at Lake Horton, or was that?
Okay, so the region, way we set it up, the top 6 from day 1, basically your weights didn't matter a certain amount to each club. It was just, there it is that day, top 6. And the rest of the 6 packed their bags, went home. The top 6 made it to day 2. So there was a mix of, a total amount of this club or that club involved with it. And then I can't remember how many clubs were invited that year. I want to say there was, it may have been 6, may have been 8. I don't think it was 8, though. I think there was like 6 clubs invited to that. And it held some good representation. I think we had I can't remember if it was 4 guys, 3 guys from our club that represented, maybe 2 guys. That's been a long time.
I guess what I was getting at is that a possibility for the Bass TEC To where we have regional tournaments, and then the top people come to whatever lake was selected.
So we with Bass Tech, it's all the club presidents. You've been on the conference calls before. We all make the decisions together, and there's been, it really wasn't a discussion this year as much as what it was the first year. First year, we really tried to determine, okay, are we going to take and make this a 1-day event or 2-day event? And the feedback that we got, okay, was a lot of these anglers that competed, there's challenges when you go into 2-day events. Yeah, it does make it interesting to take and qualify for not just 1 day and hope you done good on 1 day. It's 2 days. But a lot of those folks that didn't make it to day 2 didn't really feel part of nothing. Like they just showed up at the pot tournament and they just left. So we felt it to the best interest to, especially this time, if it grows, and I'm sure I expect Georgia Bass Tech to continue growing in years to come. So it can very well be a possibility down the road. But here's the thing. I mean, this from the conference calls that we've had. All the club presidents, this is a decision between all the club presidents making a vote. That way we try to take everything into consideration with it.
Right. Well, my thought was it wouldn't have to be consecutive days or even consecutive weekends. Once everybody's kind of winding down, then you could do, regional tournaments, and then the top 6 from each tournament would meet up for the TEC.
Right. And see, there's a lot of logistics. We've talked about that. It would be awesome to set it up to where you have multiple events to qualify to be able to make it to the final event. Make an eliminator bracket or however you want to do it. The only challenge with that is, like you're saying, splitting it up on multiple weekends. We've already got as many clubs that we have invited to 2020 Bass Tech, and then the future Bass Techs. You got to look at scheduling between all the clubs. I mean, you would not believe. I mean, it takes a lot of time just to really sit down and, all right, guys, here's the date for 2020 Georgia Bass Tech 1-day tournament, and everybody work around that schedule. Right. I mean, it's a challenge. So the logistics, the simplicity of it is multiple days would be really, really great. I'd say as the sport grows with electric only, something possibly could come to that in the future. But I would say at this time it's probably just going to stick with the 1 day, just from feedback from other club presidents and talk, just for scheduling purposes. I mean, I know it's 1 day tournament and somebody's just going to stumble across it, but
Well, you can look at it the other way too. I mean, you might be the points champion from your club and then go to that regional event and you didn't get in. So what's going on now with the 2020 Bass Tech? Got any exciting news?
Oh man, this has been it's been an interesting trying to just. I'm honestly in about in coast mode now, just because 2020 SWAT started up, and man, we're trying to come out of the gate swinging, but we fumbled Saturday. So we've got some great sponsors that have stepped on board, returning back with us. Most importantly, those that were great to us during the 2019 Georgia Bass Tech. They've opened it back up again, wanting to come right back in. Couldn't be happier. And I don't have a whole list right here in front of me of all the names of the commitments. I don't want to leave any out, but I will say this: I'll give them a shout out because they were the very first company that committed back to Georgia Bass Tech, and that's AccuCoal. They have their culling systems and their weigh-in bags and the mesh bags, and I just hats off to them, man. They just didn't even bat an eye and said, we're right back in again 2020. I mean, I think I sent that email and then literally within like 10 minutes got a response back to them saying, we're in, ready to go, filled out.
It's great when you got companies that are excited to get, back involved.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Then Line Taming Serum, they were our second company that, didn't even bat an eye. Like, man, the live, hooked up live interviews that we done, the reach that, their sales was, they could see an impact that it was making with their products getting in front of these anglers. And, John wound up telling me, hey, man, it's made a difference. I'm back again for 2020 and thankful for what they do for commitment into Georgia Bass Tech. So
awesome. It's awesome that they gave us that feedback too. I mean, they're letting us know that we're making a difference for the companies that are supporting the TEC. So
yes, and I don't have the stats right here right now, and I have not looked back at them. I'm still trying to just keep the hooked up live interviews going and trying this new web hosting platform and just trying to keep it going. So I haven't looked at my analytics, but it was amazing in 2019, the amount of people, that we reached just through our Facebook page. And I'll give them credit right now. Our sponsor 2019, that's also returned to 2020, is Parapole. They gave us some great input in 2019. They gave us suggestions, how to try to help market, not just for our sales, but for these companies to help promote their products, to get the platforms there that could reach people, and amazing partnerships with them. I mean, it really it's very humbling knowing that these large companies like Georgia 811, I mean, they've come through again and even stepped up the bar. They'll be returning back for the Georgia 811 Big Fish. They're giving away the monetary prize for Big Fish. So, I know we got to sit down. We got to get that date set and scheduled with doing their interview coming up soon. I know you gave me your dates, that way I can talk with them. But man, there's just so much in the backside of this studio with the world that's going on that
right.
It's kind of constrained me a little bit. But we've had some amazing support. We got a lot of newcomers that's come on board. Actually, this afternoon got another phone call from another company that's going to be jumping on board. So everybody will be seeing that coming on soon.
Can you remember who won those first two Bass Techs in the early 2000s?
Bass Techs, you're talking about the J-baits.
Right, there you go.
Okay. I want to say that first year that we did the regional, I can't remember if it was Jeff Cash and David Beatty. I don't know why, but I'm thinking that memory, I don't know, it may have been them. I do remember this. Russ Edwards, that was president with Aaron Cole, with Bang. They used to be Bass Anglers North Georgia. Russ Edwards had big fish. Russ used to fish with I think Dale back when that tournament ran, and they had big fish down there at Lake Horton on day 2. I don't remember on Cedar Creek. I had brownies, man.
You were not worried about what somebody was weighing in.
No, I totally forgot when it got to the brownies point. So the second year, I remember that one. Because that was a tough blow. I want to say something. I probably shouldn't, but I want to say this. So that event at Lake Juliette, I'd never been there a day in my life. Never seen the lake. And we had, I've got friends people that I've got to know over the years that hooked me up with shock studies. I literally had it to within a half a mile of knowing where these fish were at. Like literally, you could look at the year's worth of studies, and you could see predominantly where all of the larger fish and the amount of numbers of fish, not only bass, but all of the bait fish that was there in with it too. They had gill net studies and shock studies. So I had all this data, went down there blind, never seen the lake. And I was like, I know where I'm going. So me and JV blasted off, headed that direction. And as we started heading out, Randall Kirkpatrick was right there nipping at her tail. I think that he had it. We blasted off in fields, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, flights. If you finish first in points, you go out first. A few seconds later, second goes out, and so on and so on.
Gotcha.
So me and Jevy was point champions. We left out first. And then here comes Randall Kirkpatrick right behind us with his partner. I can't even remember his partner name during that tournament. And they literally, like, they were just, I mean, like probably 0.1 mile an hour faster than us. So they jump ahead and they start going out through there. And lo and behold, started right on the point where I was going to start, like right on it. And so me and JV was just sitting there. I was like, well, next point. I was like, it's okay. We get out there. I didn't catch a fish till 12 o'clock. Oh. Like zero fish. And just, I had to scrap plan A and went to plan B. And I went to plan B. And we got third place, Randall Kirkpatrick, and then wound up winning it. We'd actually tied. I forgot that we did tie for third place on money, and we wound up. I caught big fish within like 10 minutes of weigh in, right there at the boat ramp. And man, if there was ever a fish in my life, I mean, it was only 5 pounds, but I don't think I've ever been that jacked up ever to go to a state championship, catch a 5-pounder that won big fish. I was pumped.
Like throwing the heavy pass in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So, we come in the weigh-in, Randall Kirkpatrick, awesome guy. I mean, he really is. I've been out fished with him before when Hickerlaw first opened. Me and him went out, and he's predominant swim bait man, and that is his deal. He makes them swim baits, sells them swim baits.
And boy, you gotta get on the waiting list to get one of them.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm gonna tell you though, he knows how to throw them, unlike any angler around here in Georgia. I would put him up there as being one of the best swim bait fishermen in Georgia.
With Mike Buka.
I don't think Mike holds anything in the water to what Randall does for fishing it, honestly. But man, he blew it out of the park. He had 21 pounds at Lake Juliette that year, and but he didn't have big fish. I got one up on him, and I'm talking when you look at, he had 21 pounds. I had big fish. It was like 570 something if I remember right, and I'm talking, we were ounces, like just shavings. I mean, if JV would have knocked more slime off that fish coming in the net, it would have probably weighed less. You know what I mean? Like, it was that close.
So, do you think doing good in that event is something that sparked you to put together the championship again?
It definitely, it definitely helped know what fishing a large scale event feels like. You know, we went those 2 years and just, I mean, it was, you always wanted, okay, we're going to get back into it. We're going to get back into it. And that was, we've done the same thing over and over and over, have our classic. We used to, after the J-bait ended, we started a little regional, fall brawl type tournament deal where us and Bang used to get together and do one tournament at the end of the year during the off season and just take the best from both clubs. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like it when you roll up to the state championship, and this is doing this whole videos, and I'm sure you would agree with this. Sponsorships is big, letting people know about it. advertising for them, give them that publicity, recognition. But it's mostly also, just that way everybody can get to know everybody. Just let them know who they are. It creates a personalization when you show up to that state championship event. I ain't trying to say it sizes somebody up to knowing somebody, but it gives a personalization to them. And I don't know if that's how you felt, but going around last year doing interviews, meeting different folks, it really created a camaraderie there between all of us that we all wanted to whoop everybody out there on the water, but at the end of the day, it's just one day.
Exactly.
We'll hopefully be back at some point.
I mean, to me, I want everybody to get to know the anglers. I want to get excited about the event. I want to bring sponsors on board. That's why I do the angler interviews every year.
Mm-hmm. We're so thankful to having you with Decked Out Jon that, hours, days, weeks, months going by doing all the video editing and, producing every bit of this for us. We're all of us from every club president. We are all so thankful for all the hard work that you do for helping promote Georgia Bass Tech.
I appreciate y'all having me on board. Y'all help me just as much as I help y'all, and I just hope that I do justice for all the anglers.
Yep.
Put them in the spotlight, give them their 15 minutes of fame, and maybe they got a crew out there pulling for them while they're out there on the water.
That's right. And I ain't gonna lie, just from talking to some of these guys, it already sounds like a lot of these newcomers that have not competed in the Georgia Bass Tech, a lot of these guys are nervous too. Like, oh, there's gonna be boats out there filming us as we're on the water. Yeah, we're gonna have a camera on you. You might even have an action camera on your boat that day of the event. So some of these guys are already like, it puts them on edge a little bit, but. Hey,
it takes a little getting used to, but most of the time when I put a camera in somebody's boat, they come to weigh in and they're like, I forgot that camera was back there and I might have said some things I shouldn't have said. And, I guess it all just goes back to, if you let it get in your head, it'll mess with you. But if you just forget about it, you'll fish just like you always do. And that's what I want you to do. I don't want to affect the outcome. I just want to preserve the memories for you, put a spotlight on you for a little while.
And keep the show family oriented, G-rated.
Right. That's right.
Hey, I want to say something that I've already called them and talked to them. And I ain't trying to embarrass them or anything like that. Randy is an amazing commentator.
Oh, he is.
Like, he told me, he's like, man, I just felt, and before you even got your videos out, so I had no clue what he was talking about. It's like, man, he's by himself, so he's like, man, I just kind of felt awkward sitting there talking to the camera the whole day. But when I watched it, I called Randy back. I'm like, Randy.
He did a great job.
He's got like a gift. He has that when he opens his mouth on the boat by himself talking to the camera, it draws you in. You're like, it's kind of like watching, Jimmy Houston or, Roland Martin or, just watching those old school anglers. It kind of, that's what I felt like right there watching Randy. It's like, this is one of them legends.
And Vicky, when she watched it, she was like, man, he needs to do the commentary for like the Discovery Channel. He's got that radio voice.
Yes, that is it. That is the number one thing. It's his voice. It's the sound of it that it draws you.
I agree. And he did an awesome job talking to the camera. That is one good thing about fishing by yourself and having a camera there. Like, you don't have anybody else to talk to, you might as well talk to the camera a little bit. And he did a great job of it.
That's my biggest weakness on the water. I get in the zone and I silence and I focus.
Right.
Most time it's unfocused just because I can't ever get it dialed in.
A little sporadic.
Oh, 2020 is different.
Me too. I mean, I finished in 6th place. Just a few fish here or there. I mean, it would have made a big difference, but water under the bridge now.
Yep. So when's y'all's next tournament?
Well, we start February 15th.
February 15th. Okay. Where y'all starting at?
Stone Mountain.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember seeing that. Somebody was like hashtag why Stone Mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all You dreading Stone Mountain in February?
I mean, Stone Mountain and me have a love-hate relationship. I either do good or I've zeroed there a few times.
Well, that's the same as me in the re-reg. I mean, I've zeroed there, zeroed this last tournament at the re-reg. We weighed 0 fish, so I mean, and we've won a handful there ourselves. So I mean, I know what you mean. I love Stone Mountain though. I love it. Never fished it this time of year in cold water, but
yeah, it's gonna fish a lot different. But who knows? Maybe we'll find them. Got anything that you think we should bring up?
Our biggest sponsor for Georgia Bass Tech, in my opinion, the commitment for 2020 was, and you remember, I mean, we went through a lot of different companies talking to them and research, and some good, some bad, some just didn't really know about, and then had that message through with Lithium Pros that come through to us and commitment to Bass Tech. Man, that is going to be, I feel like, a game changer to the state championship. You know, folks start seeing the capabilities of what lithium batteries are able to do. These anglers will start utilizing that resource. Man, it's going to be a game changer. If we can just, I don't know, we can't really dig down in our wallets, but maybe we can go find a bank that's got some money that'll loan to us, and if people's willing to get the line of credit there to getting it going. But, you know, we're all anglers. We all have a passion in this sport. So if that's the best avenue of lithium batteries, then I believe that anglers they'll spend that money. Same thing as the outboard.
I believe so.
But no, that's it. That's the number one deal right there, is looking forward to all the future stuff for Georgia Bass Tech, partnering with Decked Out Jon Boats. Appreciate all that you do.
When is the next Hooked Up Live coming up?
So I have not completed the scheduling the date, just because I've got a little conflict coming up. I was going to plan on doing it the first week in February, and then I had found out through my sponsor with Georgia 811, because they sponsor me and JV for our each annual year for season SWAT, and to help promote, spread the message for safe digging. I went out last year in March, had the opportunity with 811, Mark Stowe. He has a TV show called The Direction, and I found out, I actually emailed him today and was like, you know, I went out with him in March, Rocky Mountain. We filmed a show, and it's going to air, I believe, he was saying, the first week in February. So I'm probably going to be planning the next interview, which I've got to get all the details, and that's what I was starting to do whenever you message me to we get on board and doing this. Is it's constant, you know. I get done with one show and let's get ready for another one. So if y'all can, just get over and check out the Direction TV show. It's gonna be y'all can go back and look at the past video. He actually had Turtle Man on the show. Went out, took him on the boat and stuff. Mark's an awesome guy. It really was fun. So my plan is probably the second week in February. Second week in February is where we're going to take and get it going.
Well, I'll hopefully start getting some interviews done on the Decked Out channel before too long. But I just been so busy trying to catch up on these classic videos. If I can get through them, it's a lot of footage. People don't understand how long it takes to edit those videos, and it takes a long time.
Let's just think about it. You had 4 cameras, 6 cameras?
6 cameras.
6 cameras, typically 8-hour day. I mean, 2 days worth. And you got to sit there and painstakingly go through it. Yeah.
Yep. And then you do overlays and time lapses and music and voiceover and.
Well, shoot, what are you doing still on here right now?
Yeah, I hope so. Well, Merrick, I just want to thank you for your time, and we will be doing updates after each tournament, and anytime we have any news for the TEC, I'll bring you back on. I've never
we didn't
actually
qualify.
I didn't qualify either.
Yeah, we didn't qualify. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring it up.
Yeah, a little splinter under the skin there.